Hi, fossil-free zones. Welcome to Bruguera de Púbol. I'm Mike, this is Frances, and this is Michelle. Come on in. Bruguera is a 3-hectare site. It's the size of 4 or 5 domestic houses. We can sleep 22 people across 10 bedrooms. We have 11 bathrooms. 2 of them are outside composting toilets. We have a yoga studio, a carpentry workshop, a repair workshop, and a few tool sheds. For 7 years, Bruguera has been a really ecologically sound eco-retreat centre and guest house. And now we're a living lab, and we're trying to use our position in tourism with people coming to stay here for short and medium lengths of time to teach people that abundance can mean something quite different than what we've learned in the 20th century. What we did was try to take this from a single family home to a place that impacts many more people. So in the 7 years that we've run it as a tourism business, we've brought around 300 people a year through here. And the environmental education component isn't something that we take lightly. So we are trying to deliver something that feels like a luxurious experience, but the fact that this has a low environmental impact is something we always make sure our guests understand. Why did we become fossil-free here? The first obvious reason is we didn't want to burn fossil fuels and release those emissions into this environment. But we also wanted to show our daughter and our guests and our students that we didn't need to live the life that we live. But more importantly is what happens in order to get the fossil fuels to us. We do not want to support the system that allows mega corporations to practice extractivist colonial practices in beautiful biodiverse areas of natural importance in the global south, just so that countries here could burn excessive energy that they don't need. Bruguera is powered through a combination of different renewable energy sources. So our electricity comes from solar photovoltaic panels on 2 different roofs. Our heat and hot water comes from 3 different sources. So we have solar thermal panels, which heat the water from the sun. We have 2 air source heat pumps, which run on the solar energy that we produce from the panels. And we have a biomass boiler. In the biomass boiler, we burn wood to heat hot water. We didn't want to burn wood explicitly as one of our renewable sources to not have direct emissions, but we have a responsibility to maintain this 2 hectares of forest. And because of the high fire risk here, that means that we have to be pruning dead wood, and a lot of that pruning material can be used to create heat and hot water. In the basement, that hot water from those 3 sources is stored in 2 big inertia tanks, which are hyper-insulated water tanks, which keep that water down there warm, waiting to be used for either heating the space, heating the underfloor heating in the yoga studio, or heating hot water for showers. We can also store the solar energy from the solar panels at night in the batteries in the basement. And in November, December, if we get 2 or 3 cloudy days in a row and we need to buy in renewable energy, we are shareholders in an energy cooperative in the region. So we know that we're buying in energy from an association that we are part of and we can influence. And we also know that they buy in 100% renewable energy from the wholesale market. So ways in which we're not yet completely fossil fuel free. Mostly garden tools. We inherited a bunch of equipment that use gasoline. And instead of just scrapping them all and putting them into the waste stream and then inducing the use of a bunch more fossil fuels in the manufacturing, we decided to use those gasoline-powered machines until the end of their life. So as these things have died, we've replaced them with electric equivalents, and we're trying to get things that all use the same batteries so that we can have a battery bank that swaps between the tools and they all charge from the solar panels. The advantage as well with these is that they're lighter and they're easier on me to use. The other thing is rather than buying new equipment at all, we've started to try to get together networks of people in similar agricultural kind of projects around us, and we can essentially have a tool library. So we can start sharing tools between us. We could trade time, or we could trade produce, or exchange the use of tools. Renewable energy isn't the only thing we do to try to keep our carbon footprint low. So we have an electric car, which we use for almost all of our journeys. We have a plug-in hybrid 4x4, which we use for moments when we need to get to a more difficult to access part of the site. And we try to encourage our guests to keep their transport low carbon as well. So we discount stays from people who arrive by train. On the waterfront, we collect all the rainwater from our roofs, and we treat all of our wastewater naturally here on site. And we do so with a combination of worms, bacteria, and plants. As for food production, we're almost self-sufficient here at La Bruguera. We can feed our family almost entirely from the 3 hectares of growing space that we have here. We have a traditional vegetable garden, we have an agroforestry system where we mix trees and perennial plants and annual vegetables, and we have the fermentation lab in the basement. What we can't grow at the moment, we either get from one of 2 Catalan cooperatives that we're a member of, or we get them immediately from the local region, from other producers around us. We like to think at La Bruguera that our food is 0 meter, not just 0 kilometer. We see our role in the climate transition as being like a little node in the system that is sending ideas of change out on this mesh network, trying to bring the ideas of regenerative design and regenerative cultures to all the people that we come in contact with. And coming into contact with people is one of the most important things we can do. So all of these kinds of interactions, these bottom-up interconnections, are what are going to create systemic change. So initiatives where we get people together who are positive use cases, who can give real information about the performance of their systems to each other, enabling this kind of network of people who want to do this to talk to each other and learn from each other, are absolutely imperative at this moment for us to get this transition done away from fossil fuels. We're not just looking for a technological solution to this crisis. It didn't emerge because of technology. This is a crisis that derives from humanity's disconnection from nature, and that is something that La Bruguera can be really powerful for reconnecting people with this idea that they're part of nature.